Welcome everyone to today's webinar titled Converting RoboHelp Content to DITA XML. My name is Brian Tipper. I'm the CEO here at Stilo, and I'm sitting alongside Helen St. Denis, our Conversion Services Manager. And before we begin, let's go over some quick housekeeping rules. So first off, everyone will be muted throughout the duration of the webinar. If you have any technical questions, you can submit them via the Q&A panel. And please note that we're going to answer all questions at the end of the webinar. And next, Allison, our marketing manager, will be handling all technical issues and general questions via the chat module. You can communicate with her by messaging the user named Stilo International. And finally, this webinar will be recorded. A link to the recording will be emailed to everybody that registered approximately 1 hour after the webinar concludes. So without further ado, I'd like to hand the mic over to your presenter, Helen St. Denis.
Thanks, Brian. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to make this escape. It's not escaping. Okay, that's still not escaped. Okay. Okay, we'll just end that. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so we are going to be talking about converting content that's written in RoboHelp into DITA. So the example that I'm using is one that is just a sample that came bundled in with RoboHelp. And I chose that because it's likely to have a good variety of the things that we typically find in a RoboHelp project. So what you will see here is what's in this project. Typically, a RoboHelp project will have a folder structure like this, and it will have topics nested inside their HTML files nested inside it. We can see here, this is what the HTML looks like. It's XHTML, which is nice. We've got some user-defined variables as well that we have to watch out for. We've got some build tags, so we will want to leverage those. So this is what we've got to work with. There will be some things that we will find in the RoboHelp that are not exactly what we would find in other formats. So we do have build tags. We have snippets, which are a bit similar to what we would see in text insets in FrameMaker. But these are bits of text that are reused in the RoboHelp, and we want to make sure we can reuse them in the DITA as well. In this particular project, we have a glossary file, so we will prepare a DITA glossary from that as well. So there may be some other things that might be included in a RoboHelp file, but these are the most commonplace ones. So first I'll show a little bit of the output that we got from this, just to show you the sorts of things that we were able to pick out. So this is what my map would look like. And you can see we've got a front matter and we've got chapters. So the chapters are each of the top level folders. So within the folders, we have the topics there, and then at the same level as the topics, we have the next folder. So we've got a folder for authors, and that contains a folder called RoboHelp Features. And so we've been able to replicate the structure of the TOC and the RoboHelp in the DITA map, or the book map of the DITA. So when I go to upload my project, I make sure to include all the relevant files for that. I'm just going to quickly show the XML of the map so we can get a better idea of what it looks like. So here it is. And again, this is essentially our default formatting for output. All of these things are configurable to your requirements naturally. So you'll see that in the front matter, we've got a keydefs map, and that is going to have keys based on the value of those user-defined variables. We've got a file with conrefs in that has been created to contain the snippets that we have extracted. And you'll see also that we have audience attributes on the topic refs, and this is how we've handled the build tags. So we can map them to whatever profiling attribute is required, but in this case, I decided that audience was the most suitable in this case. So I'm going to switch back now to the map editor view. Take a second. Come on, XMetal. Oh, here we go. Okay, so now it's going to refresh all its references. So it does just have the chapters in the front matter. I did not at this point create anything like a relationship table or anything like that. It's just, wait for this for a second. So while we are waiting for that, I will just show you what it is that I uploaded, the package that I uploaded. So included in my package was just everything that is in the project folder for this RoboHelp. Now, you don't necessarily need all of these files, but the easiest thing is just to zip it all up to make sure you have everything you need, because you need the project file, you need the TOC file, which is the HHC file, you need the glossary file. You may or may not require your ALI file and your index files or HHK files. So the easiest thing is just to zip it all up. If you include a bunch of these other folders, nothing bad will happen because of it, except it just does take a bit more space on the server. And of course, all the HTML files go in there. This should be just about done now. Okay. So here in my front matter, this is my my keydefs map. This is my my conrefs topic. So this is a table that I have extracted. It was a snippet in the RoboHelp, and I've just made it into a conrefable table. So we have this topic here, which is definitely given a resource-only processing role. So this doesn't publish by itself, but it does publish. We go down here, we'll see where it is. So here's where it shows up the first time. And here's where it shows up the second time. So we are able to preserve the reuse that you've already got in your RoboHelp by using the keys, by using the snippets as conrefs, this sort of thing, and again by using the build tags to conditionalize our topics. Most of these topics have come out as concept, and that seems to be mostly appropriate. However, what we have done is we've just instructed Migrate to figure out for itself what the topic type is. And in this case, we'll see that Migrate is quite able to distinguish a task from a concept. So we do have tasks as well. And if we go down to the bottom, of course, we've got some glossary topics. There's our glossary, gloss entry, and gloss term. So all of those are there. So I'm gonna go up here a little bit. So there's some things in here that I usually like to point out. So one of the things is in here, we'll see the RoboHelp had a table in it that had quite a bit of column spanning and row spanning, so it's quite a complex layout. That just comes through unchanged in Migrate unless we tell it otherwise. So you can see it's got the column spanning, it's got the row spanning as it was. We've got lists coming through as they should. We've got a note in here somewhere as well, right here. So this all is just coming through exactly as it was written in the RoboHelp. Now, I did look at this and think to myself, you know, if I were making this into DITA, I might not want this in a table. I might prefer to have this as a series of topics. So I might have a topic, enable end users to quickly find relevant content. Then I might have a heading for a section and the rest in a section. And then, you know, sometimes there's more than one. So this might be a topic with various sections in it. So that's a thing I might want to change at some point. Also, I might want to make sure that I am not actually retaining the content of an internal link, because I do want those to be generated when I publish. And I might want, for example, a relationship table to come out of the links that are at the end of the topic. And I think I have an example of that here. Health and safety. It might be here. Nope. Possibly it was here. Nevertheless, there is definitely lists of, oh, here we are, this is where it is. Lists of related topics at the end of the topic. So I might want to do something different with those. I might either want a relationship table, or I might decide I just want to put them into a related links section. So if I want to make those changes, I'm going to go back to Migrate to my rules editor and make those changes. And also it gives us a chance to see how we were able to leverage the things that we found in RoboHelp to get us the content that we wanted. So this is what I see in my rules editor when I open up the RoboHelp document in the rules editor. And I'm just showing it already open so that we don't have to wait. It actually only takes a few seconds to open this, but some of the processes take what seems like a long time when you're on a webinar. So the first thing is the project title. So I can leverage that. That becomes the book title. I have all of these meta tags here that I can use if I need them. Some of them I have used, Some of them I will just ignore, just delete them. One of the things I have used is the build tags. So what I've done with the build tags is I've just set a context for migrate to know that, okay, so we know that we are in employee care topics. So I can set rules that will apply when we're in employee care topics. And when we come to another HTML file with build tags, we will set it again. So that's how we can make sure that this topic, for example, is going to get the proper attributes. So how I've leveraged what we see in the TOC to get the correct structure. When we import it into Migrate, we will get a nesting level listed in the properties that enables us to determine where it comes in the hierarchy in the TOC, so therefore where it should go in the map. So what I've done here is I found all the folders and I've said, okay, if it's a folder, find the nesting level. That's the level of the topic in the map. And if it's level 1, it's going to be the title of a chapter. So that's how we get the chapters on the outer level and everything else nested inside. Heading 1s, we do similar sort of thing. This is the heading of the HTML file, but I just want to nest it inside the folder, so I give it one extra level. Now, sometimes people will prefer that each HTML file becomes just one topic, and there are reasons for that. However, we can get nicer data usually by breaking it up if we have headings within. So I've made the H2s. The H2s will not have a nesting level in this project, at least. So all I have to do is to make sure that the nesting level I give them is smaller, or sorry, it's a higher number than the lowest level one that it could be inside. So I've made this one. If it's H2, it's level 5. If it's H3, it's level 6. So it's still going to be nested properly. We've got the usual things like lists, unordered lists, and again, we've used the list level to get us the appropriate nesting inside the lists. Now we've gone and we've looked at the table, and so we've made sure that we get a table header where we need one. So glossaries, so here we are. So this is easy to do actually because the XML of the glossary file is very close to DITA anyway. So we have a glossary term. We've given it a target file name, so it comes out with that as its file name and the definition. So those ones are easy. The table that is conref. So let's find it here. So this table, so when something comes in as a snippet, we know that it's a snippet. So if I select this table, here's my rule. So you can see that the properties of this table include this text inset. And this is just giving me the file name of the snippet. So I can extract this table and I can put it into a DITA topic, and I can use the file name of the snippet to identify it. So the ID is always going to be the same, no matter how many times I come across this text, this snippet in this document or the next one. When I pull it out, it's going to have the same ID. So you will still be able to reuse it in just the same way. Our our lists are typically easy to pick out because they do have a list style associated with them, but occasionally we'll find that somebody has made something that looks like a list, but they've actually just delineated it with a hyphen or some other symbol. So that's, again, easy to pick out. We just match that hyphen. We delete the hyphen because we won't need it, and we've made it into a bulleted list. So we don't strictly rely on the styling of the input. We have other things that we can use as well. So yeah, here's our rule for our user-defined variables. So what we've done is we found the user-defined variable. So we'll see it has a text entity property coming out. So we've matched on that, and whatever its content is becomes the key of the keys. So that is why we have these things coming out as keys in the key map. So I did also, ahead of time, prepare rules for my feature table, my table that I think could usefully be created as possibly a series of topics. So I've just switched it off for now because switching it back on again is easier than recreating it. That would be boring. So if I put this back on, and this one as well, it gives it the file names. We'll see that what it does is it looks for the table. It looks for a row that says feature and description in the very first row. That's how we identify it. Then we look in and we see if we've got feature title in here. So we know that this is a title. This can now become the topic title. Then we look for whatever's in the first column and say that's going to be the title of a section. All of these other things will just get either just left as paragraphs normally, or these will be list items according to the regular rules. So I've put those back on now. And I also have a rule for relationship table, which I switched off. And put that back on. And what this does is just simply identifies a paragraph that contains nothing at all except an internal link. And I'm just going to put that into a relationship table. Now, there are other possibilities for creating a relationship table. In this document, there are some that just show up in lists. So it doesn't only have an internal link, it also has a bullet. Just for these purposes, I didn't include those. I just made this rule nice and simple. I didn't give it any arguments. It's just going to go straight into a relationship table. The one other thing I did want to do is to create a rule that is going to empty the content of my internal links, just so that that content can be generated for me when I publish. So I have an internal link property here. So I click New Rule, and it's a rule that's going to go on this span. And I actually don't care about the style. So I'll delete that. And what I do care about is the internal link property. And then I'll just say empty. So what will happen is the cross-reference will still be there, but the text inside the element will be gone. So then I would save those changes that I've made. Should take a second. I'm just going to apply again. So what will happen is it'll refresh the rules editor. I'll see where my new rules have applied. That way I can just make sure that they've applied in the proper place. And when they have applied, I can then just go back over here and I can convert the document again. I'm just going to hit convert. This is another copy of the same document, just because I just want to keep looking at the rules editor here. So I've uploaded the document a couple of times. You would not normally do that, because once it's uploaded, you can change the rules as much as you want, and make changes, download as often as you like. And this may be finished, in fact. Yeah. So empty the cross references, that's all going to come out. Here's my relationship table. So here's where it's going to show up. All of these links are going to be in a relationship table. And my feature table. So in this topic now, I will see subtopics under About Adobe RoboHelp. Now I do have this converting again. However, I do know from past experience it takes approximately 7 minutes to convert that. So I have one that I converted beforehand. And this is it. So the map looks similar, except as we go down, we'll see we do have a relationship table. If we click on our policies and procedures topic, you'll see that those links are gone because now they are in that relationship table. So now where About Adobe RoboHelp 2015 was a topic with a big long table in it, we now have a series of subtopics. So this was the title in the table. This was the first column. This is the second column. So it is coming out as separate topics, which is more DITA-like. We just look here. Oh, that is an actual tilde. I did want to point out that we also are handling the conditional text in this. Perhaps that's not where it is, but we do the conditional text comes out as conditional text as well. There's our xref that's empty, so we can see that. So it's not only the build tags that give us conditions, it's the conditions that have been applied inside the RoboHelp as well. Let's have a quick look at. Just look at that relationship table. So there's our relationship table with the links in there. Just a simple relationship table. So that's how all of that has come out. So now, of course, we will find that there are other things that you can do in RoboHelp that maybe aren't as DITA friendly. I mean, you can have DHTML features with little pop-ups and so on. They can be a challenge sometimes. However, all of that text will come out. Again, as I said, what we have done here is what we do as a default. So we've taken the project file, we look in there and it tells us what the default TOC is. So we've processed according to the default TOC. There may be other files in here. By default, we only process those that are referenced by the default TOC. So if the default TOC references other TOCs, it'll all be pulled in. But in cases where it's necessary, we can also process the ones that aren't directly referenced from the TOC. We can leverage the folder names to put the files into the relevant folders if we need to. With the conditional text, of course, we always generate a DITA val file as well. So this will take about 7 minutes. And let's go back to our RoboHelp. We did not have any indexing or topic aliases in this project, but those are things that we can handle as well, as long as we make sure we upload all the appropriate files to do that. And I think that is really about everything that I wanted to show you today. So
Okay, well, just a reminder for everybody that if you have questions, now's the time to put them in there into the questions panel. And while Helen's waiting for your questions and reading through any that are there, I'd like to remind everyone of our upcoming trade show dates. So the first one is Convex, which will be a virtual trade show that is replacing DITA North America, DITA Europe, and Journeys. This will be held in September. We will have 2 talks here. The first one presented by Helen, titled "Two Wrongs Don't Make a Right, Learn the Value of Proper Deduplication." And the second one will be presented by myself, titled "Tips and Techniques for Handling Graphics When Transitioning to DITA." And then in October, we'll be attending Lavicon, which is also virtual. And Helen will be presenting on the topic "Making Choices When Migrating Content." Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pass the mic back to Helen to see if she's had time to read through any questions that you guys have sent in.
okay, thanks, Brian. I'm trying to open up this questions panel. Okay, so there's not too many questions. One question is, this is, of course, we talked about a XPJ file. This is classic RoboHelp. Do we support the new RoboHelp format? And the answer to that is yes, we do. So if you have a newer RoboHelp, we support that also. Newer, older, it's all the same. Just looking to see if I see any more questions. Doesn't look like there's any more right now. You know, if people have questions later, they can feel free, of course, to send them to us. Also, we'll just hang on for a second in case anybody is in the middle of typing a question.
And if you want to email us, the email is contact@stilo.com.
Oops, there we are.
Anything else there, Helen, or is that a?
Nothing. So if anybody
Okay.
still has a question, they should just send us a quick email.
Okay, perfect. Well, that concludes our webinar. So we'd like to thank everyone for attending, and we hope to speak with you all soon. Goodbye for now.